This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
Young Derek would love to take my order.
Hi.
He works at the coffee shop just up the street.
Morning.
He's happy and annoying with a smirk the size of Texas. He's my coffee enemy.
Would you like a mochaccino? Or perhaps a cappuccino? Or maybe a frappuccino?
Said Derek wearing the chinos. All I really want is a cup of coffee. So strong the spoon stands up, just a cup of coffee. All I really want is a cup of coffee. Give me a friggin' cup of coffee, Derek.
Hey, is this Lou and Mickey's?
Yes, it is.
I have lost my baby in your bar, and I can't seem to find him. And I'm struggling here. I need my baby. Did you guys find a lost baby?
We did not find a lost baby. I'd be more than happy to take your phone number down and your information, and maybe we can have you try calling the police department.
That seems like the appropriate steps.
Hi, hello, Coffee Nation, and welcome to Coffee with Friends podcast, episode 8. I'm your host, Carl Coffee. With me, once again, is my co-host, Tim Anderson. How are you, Tim?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Carl?
Whoa, good. Listen, we're having back on Steve Harris. He was on episode 1. He was a huge hit. Steve, thanks for coming back.
No problem. Hi, Carl.
Hey,
Hi,
man.
Tim.
Hi, Steve.
Tim and Steve both went to Eastern Michigan and they never met. Am I missing something? Is that a big school?
It's pretty big, but I think Tim pre-show told me he was a little bit older than me, so maybe we just didn't cross over.
So we have a long title for the show. It's called Determining the Top 5 Baseball Movies of All Time. And before I do a show, I always do a little leak on Twitter. And
Damn, Carl.
What?
Catchy title.
Yeah, really.
Oh, you know what? Before you get into all that, I just wanted to ask a quick question. Is this a sports show?
I'm the host. Listen, this is a sports podcast, I think. When you sign up for a podcast, you have to do a category. And what am I going to pick? Music, literature? I mean, come on, literature. I had to do something.
I can talk about both of those subjects. Actually, all three of them.
As I was saying before Steve interrupted, it got a lot of hype on Twitter. People actually care about this topic. Did you know, Steve, that we are a member of 2 networks? The Overtime Sports Network. You can check them out at otsportsnetwork.com or on Twitter at _OTSN. And the Detroit Sports Podcast Network. That has 40,000 followers. That's awesome. I love these guys. DetroitSportsPodcast.com or on Twitter at Detroit Podcast. And Steve, let me ask you something real quick.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you remember the band Eagle Eye Cherry?
Vaguely.
You know what? I just listened to Save Tonight from Eagle Eye Cherry, and I listened to it again after it finished.
Yeah.
My goodness. Do you ever think about your time, when you're in middle school, high school, and just go back and listen to the music? Because they don't make music like that anymore. Am I right, Tim?
That is a quintessential second millennium record. It's fantastic.
So this podcast, Steve and Tim, is broken up into 4 segments. We have Stump the Expert. I like that topic.
Can I chime in real quick on the Eagle Eye thing?
Well, I tried to talk to you about it, but you seem to be confused.
Well, I am confused because I think that shit is garbage. I don't understand what you guys are into that kind of shit.
What do you mean shit? It was one of the best songs of our time.
I'm going to have to wholeheartedly and 100% disagree with you, my man.
Save tonight and fight the break of dawn.
Tomorrow be gone.
We should just move on. Let's just move on to what you were going to say.
We have an 8 to 1. This is going to be a baseball-centered podcast. We're going to talk about non-star Detroit Tigers. Me and Tim came up with these 8 guys when we were hanging out last Friday, which we're going to talk about in a second. We have a 60-second challenge, which I'm guessing we won't even do because I guess you're kind of
morally opposed.
You spend a lot of time in the service industry, so you don't like to mess with people. That's going to hurt your chances in the throne of awesome.
Well, that's fine.
Then we have a main topic, the baseball movie thing. So, I'm not going to ask both of you, but Steve, what was the highlight of your day?
Oh man, the highlight of my day. I went to a Thanksgiving donuts and apple cider themed thing at my kid's school. That was pretty fun.
What grade your kid in?
First grade.
So people think I met you in second grade. When I say people, I mean probably no one. But I actually was in Mrs. Quigley's first grade with you. Do you even care?
I do. Please. Yeah. I remember Miss Quigley.
She's dead. Why is that funny?
Damn. Hey, listen. You gotta like ease into that.
Well, my mom was a substitute teacher like your mom, Steve, and my mom knew when people died in the school district.
Is that how she told you? Hey, Carl, remember your first grade? She's dead.
There's probably a. All right, so
Although hey, listen, I love your directness, though, Carl. You're off to a great start today.
So, do you want to do a 8-1 or do you want to do Stump the Expert? Because it's your world, Steve Harris. Oh wait, do you like to go by right. Steve or Steven?
I would really prefer this time, since last time you asked me the same question and you just blatantly ignored what I said. Please call me Steve, okay?
Okay, Steve Harris, thank you. Hey, wasn't that the name of one of the Columbine shooters?
No, actually, that was Eric Harris.
Oh, your cousin?
There is a. Hey, fuck you, Carl, piece of shit. There is a famous Steve Harris, though. He plays bass for Iron Maiden.
Yeah, but Eagle Eye Cherry is better. So listen, 8-1 or Stump the Expert.
Oh my god, bro. Let's well, real quick before we get into that, is this a sports show?
Yes, it's a sports podcast, kind of.
All right, okay, all right. Let's do an 8-1, and then we'll do the other thing.
All right. I love the Detroit Tigers, and I have since probably like 92 when I was 9 years old, and I understood things. And you know what? We've had superstars on our team, and we've had stars.
It's true.
So I was talking to Tim, and we kind of just named guys who are just like close to the superstar thing, but not quite there.
Mm-hmm. And
these guys have accolades. Like the first guy I'm going to name, Polanco. He was ALCS MVP. Travis Fryman, he was a stud. But I mean, there's not going to be guys like Pudge or Verlander or Scherzer or Mickey. But
right, these are guys that are slightly under the radar,
and they're 8 of my favorites. Like seriously, this is like why these 8? Because these are the guys I really loved. Mostly hitters, because I was not a pitcher, Steve. I was a hitter. But I do have a couple pitchers because I like them.
All right.
So let's knock out the first one. Placido Polanco, dude, second baseman from that 06 team, MVP of the ALCS, versus Robert Fick, who he played on a lot of crappy teams, but he put up numbers. He was responsible for that 2002 tie All-Star game, if you remember that. So who do you got? Hey, wait, before you answer, we can both veto. There's 2 vetoes now. So
am I the only one answering now?
Yeah, it's your show, man.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go with Polanco. More well-rounded player, better career, better overall player, more scarce position to have a good player at, and plus Robert Fick was good for like 1 month.
Yeah. And the guy we traded for Polanco ended up like murdering people in Uganda or somewhere. That was
or who? Urbina?
Urbina.
Maybe.
Did we traded him for? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, we traded
straight
up. It was Venezuela, but I don't know why I said Uganda. Listen, good pick. I'm not vetoing. Difference. Are you vetoing, Tim?
I am not.
So this is like, I feel like I know Steve, so I didn't even ask Steve for a topic for Stump the Expert, which has kind of taken over. I Bet You Can't. I Bet You Can't was a good topic, but I like this one better. And last week, you remember Ricky Matthews from high school, Steve?
I do.
I couldn't stump him. I think he cheated.
Really?
I think he cheated.
What was the topic?
2005 Pistons.
So that was the year after they won the title, right?
Yeah, that's when he started watching basketball, after they won the title.
Oh, damn.
So listen. So I go, all right, I know Steve. We were good friends in high school. We played in high school golf together. The 99 Tigers is when we were like 16, listen. It was the last year they were at Tiger Stadium. Here's the question. Do you have Wikipedia open?
No.
All right. I believe you. Who led the team in home runs that year?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad radio just not to say anything. So what are you thinking?
I know it wasn't Higgy.
Listen, I'm gonna give you 4 names who it's not.
No.
Fine,
I'm going
2.
with Tony Clark.
That's a good guess. Tony Clark had 31 home runs and 99 RBIs. That's a good season. He batted .280.
He had to have led him.
And then there's a guy in the team named Dean Palmer.
Ah,
Yeah.
We got him from the Rangers. He signed, I think, and this was his best year with the Tigers. He had 38 home runs, 100 RBIs.
are you shitting me?
Dude, I didn't know he had that kind of year.
Damn, Tony Clark was the man back then, too.
Tony Clark was the man, and I believe right field was a little bit shorter at Old Tiger Stadium.
Ah, damn. So you stumped me already.
Rick Matthews, you're still the only one.
I guess that was a pretty short segment.
That's okay.
My bad.
The main topic is it's a long topic. We're going to go through like 10 movies, maybe more. So,
all right.
If we breeze through some of these other segments, that's fine with me. But I got to tell you something, Steve. Last Friday, Tim drove over to my house and we hung out. Do you want to hear? You want to hear about
Tim,
that?
what's going on?
Yeah, what's going on, Tim?
Let's hear about it.
So Carl and I went to a bar to play some beer pong.
Yeah, beer pong. And listen, we're both in our mid-30s.
Yeah.
And everyone there was probably 21, maybe 22 at tops.
This sounds like a fucking nightmare, but go on.
We sign up.
We're inching closer to death every day.
We sign up and we call ourselves Downriver Girls because I think it's funny. And then they announce our team name and the person says Downriven Girls.
Yeah, yeah.
No one, obviously, no one cared. No one even.
They blew the whole joke.
Yeah, no one knows what Downriver is. I'm the only one pissed. So we go to our first game and it's 2 girls. We're playing 2 girls. It's me and Tim versus these 2 girls, and it's beer pong. They use 6 cups in Virginia, which is weird to me because I've always played 10 cups.
Okay, 10 sounds right. I haven't played since my mid-20s, like everyone else. Like everyone else, but
it's a thing in Virginia because when I went to school in Virginia, there was 6-cup pong. That's what they do here. Anyways, I'm splashing every single throw. People are watching. Everyone's like, eyes are wide open. Like, who's this guy?
Are they oversized cups?
Yes, and I'm making everything. I'm making.
Oh, they are. They're oversized cups.
But listen, Steve. All of a sudden, it's 1 cup to 1.
Yeah.
Against these 2. I said it right. 2 girls.
Yeah.
2 girls.
Uh-huh.
And people who are watching me who think I'm like a professional, they're yelling at Tim. You haven't made a cup yet. Why are you wearing a sweatshirt and a winter coat and gloves? Like, Tim was missing shots by probably like 4 to 5 feet. He was. Why'd
you have gloves on, Tim?
He just wasn't comfortable.
I want to hear it from Tim though.
Yeah, Tim.
It was cold.
Yeah, it was cold. So I'm thinking Tim's throwing this game. So I make the last cup. So I make all 6. And the girls rebuttal and they beat us in overtime because I make 6 and Tim makes nothing. So we're down. We go back to the bar. I'm pissed, so I order 3 shots of tequila, all for me. Tim's like, "What the fuck?"
Wow.
Yeah. So listen.
And then okay.
So then we play these 2 guys. One of them was 100% black. The other guy, 50% black. So we're in trouble because.
Why is that, Carl?
Because me and Tim, we're like the whitest dudes in the world.
I'm only halfway, Carl.
But listen. I'm splashing cup after cup. These guys, their jaws drop. They're like, "Dude, are you a professional? How are you so good?" Dude, I make all 6 cups. We're down 3 to 1. I make all 3 at the end. We beat them. So we're 1-1, Steve. I have 12 cups.
Yeah.
Guess how many Tim has made?
0.
I'm going to post a video next time we play and put it on the Twitter of Tim shooting. He stands like 8 feet behind the table. He's like Thunder Dan Marley. He's trying to hit a hot shot 3-pointer for the Phoenix Suns. I don't understand his style. Like, I think he's trying to lose.
Gloves on.
I'm nearsighted, Carl.
So all of a sudden, we win a game, and these guys we beat are in our corner. They're telling me, all right, this is not your first time playing, because I told everyone at the bar, I don't know what I'm doing. I played stupid. But they realized, I have some experience.
Yeah.
So our next game, Tim does the impossible. He makes 2 cups. I make 4. Yeah. We win another one. All of a sudden, we're making some noise. We're in the loser bracket quarterfinals. Oh, yes.
Are you gonna clue everyone in on the race of your opponents for the rest of the time?
Yes. Then we played these 2 guys, and let me tell you, Tim was so intimidated by them, he let them cheat. Tim, that's true.
I didn't know there was only one reset.
Tim, you were intimidated by them because one of them was wearing one of those like thug jackets, and you were scared.
Like a starter jacket?
Carl, I was terrified.
No, those like puffy black jackets that the gangsters wear?
Maybe, I don't know.
So they do an early, you can do 1 re-rack. Do you know what a re-rack is, Steve?
Where you like reassemble the cups to make it easier to make them.
So Tim gives them like 7 re-racks, and he's...
how many are you supposed to get?
Or 2.
He's on his knees, pleasuring, giving re-racks, and yet I still somehow pull it out of my ass. We win again. All of a sudden, we're 2-1. We're making some noise. Everyone in the bar is like, who are these old guys who keep winning? They've never even showed up here. Everyone there was a regular but us. And so then we played another one, and it was a guy and a girl. They both used vapors. They're really cool. And, even the girl tried to do like a cool handshake with me, but I couldn't hang, and we lost. But at the end of the day, I made 19 cups. And guess how many Tim made?
4.
19-4. And we still went 2-2.
Okay. I mean, all right. Lots of process here. So, I mean, I still can't get over the fact that you guys are both almost 40, and you're in a bar with a bunch of 21-year-olds, and you're trying to just, rep your game playing fucking beer pong. You're totally out of your element. And number 2, Carl, I think you should try darts, buddy, because it's a similar type of game. Okay, it's a little bit more serious, though. Have you ever tried to play darts?
I'm awesome at darts. I used to play at the Brooklyn bar in Wyandotte, and I would win every single match. My hand-eye coordination is amazing.
Why are you fucking around with beer pong? You should be hustling darts.
Well, it's down the street from me, and I thought it would be an easy $100 because, I'm really good at beer pong, and I thought we were going to have a producer on, my friend Ryan Bullard. I got to tell you the truth, Steve. There was a year, me and Bullard won so much in beer pong, we had to pay taxes because there are these companies there are these LLCs that have tournaments, and they keep track of the winners. Yeah. I had to pay taxes on my winnings one year. I'm kind of embarrassed to say it, but I'm really good. Tim, how good am I?
He's pretty good.
I don't miss.
What's the threshold that you have to reach to pay taxes?
I don't know. Well, there's one tournament that me and Bullard
won. Like $2,000?
Well, yeah. Me and Bullard won $1,000 in one tournament. In one day, we won $1,000.
Holy shit! And you got to get drunk?
Well, it's about finding that middle ground. You don't want to be too drunk.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. That's why I suck at beer pong.
We'll have Bullard on next time you're on. He'll tell you about the time we won. It was 61 teams, and we won it all. But listen.
I don't believe that one bit because they already failed tonight.
That. Listen, that's a true story about Tim, the worst beer pong player I've ever met. And I made up something. He wasn't wearing gloves, but I kept telling him over and over, take off your sweatshirt. He's like, don't talk to me. I'm in the zone. But he wasn't in the zone. He was airballing every shot. The only time he ever hit a cup was when they had a cluster of like 6 or 5.
Well, that's when you can hit him. I was so fixated on the gloves ever since you said that.
Yeah,
I was like, why would he be wearing gloves?
I tried to paint a scene, and as I was leaving, like 7 people came out to me like, dude, play with me next week. What is your Instagram handle? I don't know how these youth talk.
Oh boy.
What is your
With their funny words and hashtags.
what is your grinder name? Can I message you later? And I'm like, listen, I'll be back when I'm ready. And everyone just started like worshiping me. And Tim's like, Carl, I'm not worthy. Remember when you said that?
I always say that, Carl, because I am not worthy.
All right.
Well, little advice for next time. Maybe you should play his pump up music, which is buckwheat or whatever the fuck you guys said earlier. What was it?
You're outvoted, dude.
Eagle Eye Cherry?
I know you don't like. Listen, Steve. There's two types of people who grew up in the late '90s, early 2000s. There's the corn people, and there's the Backstreet Boys people. You're a corn guy.
Wow.
As was I. And
No way.
still am.
Dinosaur Jr., baby.
Listen, dude. Save tonight and fight the break of dawn because tomorrow I'll be gone. All right. Steve.
I don't relate to that shit at all. But let's move on.
This one's tough for me, and I love this matchup. It's my favorite matchup in the top 8. Travis Fryman, who I couldn't put Cecil Fielder because I kind of think he was a star, so I put Fryman.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And then Brandon Inge, who grew up in Lynchburg, Virginia, where I went to school.
Okay.
Who do you got, Steve?
I'm taking Fryman, no doubter here, baby.
All right. I'm not. I can't do it. I can't do it. I have him as a higher seed. Did you listen to the last episode, Steve, when I did a veto and then Tim vetoed my veto?
No, I did
All right.
not.
Well, I'm going to ask you: green bean casserole or sweet corn?
Oh, casserole, no doubt.
Thank you.
What?
So that was
Who
the
the hell
matchup.
eats that?
That was the matchup. Ricky picked corn. I vetoed him, and then Tim vetoed my veto.
Well, I don't even really like corn that much. Like
Thank you.
The casserole is just a no-brainer.
Dude, that was my one seed. It's my favorite. Now listen, Tim, are you vetoing this
Especially when
matchup?
you got the onions and shit on top.
Dude, yeah, dude, I don't understand these people. Rick and Tim are idiots.
God damn.
Are you going to let Fryman move on, Tim?
I'm going to let him move on.
Hold on. No, I don't want to move on yet. I want to mention pretty much the main reason, a few main reasons why I picked Fryman. Can I explain a little bit?
Can I explain why Fryman was the reason why I wanted to play shortstop for the Orange Crush on the Woodhaven Rec team in '93? Wait, what?
All right. Well, clearly he has sentimental value. The Orange Crush team. You guys took it one step forward.
No, you did. You were the only guy. You were the only guy in that Woodhaven Rec League that wore batting gloves on both hands, and you had the best coach in the league, Coach Somerville. But why did you pick Fryman? We lost all our listeners.
I don't think that I wore batting gloves on both hands. Did I?
You did. I remember. I'm not. I have a good memory. Now listen.
Wow.
I didn't learn how to hit until Somerville coached me. But why did you pick Fryman?
That is some high maintenance shit. Okay, but I picked Fryman. I like Fryman, but it's more of my dislike for Inge. Number one, he was in the home run derby, and he hit 0 home runs in the home run derby. I don't even think he may have not gotten a ball out of the infield. I'd have to rewatch it. And then there was the time when he was in a slump, and he told the media that everyone was pitching him like Ted Williams. Okay, I don't know if you remember that. And then there was another time when what was the scenario? It was him and Pudge, and he wanted to play third or something. I can't remember, but he was just kicking up too much dust for how inadequate he was. So that's it.
That's fine. I remember that one year was a big deal where we I forget what happened, but he was like the 10th guy. He wasn't a starter. And then 2 days before the season started, Granderson broke his wrist. So they're like, all right, we'll put Inge in center.
Yeah.
And that was probably like 2008 when the team really underachieved.
Fryman was the reason the Trammell moved to third.
Oh, yeah.
Fryman was the reason the Trammell moved to third.
Yeah.
Oh.
I remember that. I love Fryman. And we traded him away, and then he was traded for someone. He was all over the place. I didn't care. That's like old school stuff, man. I love Fryman. We got some other old school guys we'll talk about in the top 8. We got Mickey Tendleton and Bobby Higginson. But let's talk about this 60-second challenge. But I'm going to call it the poo-poo pee challenge. And you're like, well, how old are you, Carl? Poo-poo pee? What are you talking about? Are you serious? Poo-poo pee? I mean, we're going to call a Chinese restaurant and we're going to ask to add peas to a poo-poo platter. Steve, a poo-poo platter is like an appetizer sampler for Chinese restaurants, you know?
I didn't know that, but okay.
And then, so if you add peas to a poo-poo platter, you get a poo-poo pea platter.
I get it. It's clever.
So if you can call this restaurant, I have a script ready.
You're asking me to call it?
No, I mean, it's a...
I already told you once off air and once on air
I
that
still have
I'm
to paint the
morally
scene.
opposed. Oh, okay.
You were off the air. Nobody knows what you said off the air. Is this your first podcast?
I thought we also said it on air.
Steven. Oh, I said it. No, listen. It's fine. You know, the Throne of Awesome is something we're going to do for 4 months. It's a challenge between guests. And whoever has the best... Whoever stays in the Throne of Awesome after 4 months gets a $20 gift card to Applebee's. You can get appetizers, a horrible margarita. I don't care what you get. But Steve, unless you just nail the main topic, you're going to hurt. Who's in the Throne of Awesome? Did we put Rick in the Throne of Awesome? I don't even remember.
No, it's still me.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Well, that's embarrassing. Steve, come back.
You tell me.
Come back. You'll get in the throne. We'll do a next time you're on. We'll do a Craigslist challenge. Cool.
There you go. That sounds good.
That's fine. We have a heavy main topic, so before we go there, we'll knock out another top 8 matchup. And me and Tim both have vetoes. We can do vetoes until the championship.
Okay.
And
Let's do it.
Mickey Tettleton, everyone who grew up in Michigan, just impersonated his swing because you just stood up straight and your bat was just out straight. It made no sense, but it was fun to impersonate. You remember that?
Oh yeah, number 1 most impersonated batting stance
God.
of my childhood.
And I actually cried when he signed with the Rangers. I love that guy. I did.
Cried?
I cried. Dude, I love that. I love the Tigers in the early 90s, man. I was the only person probably in the world who did. And then my favorite, I love Doug Fister. Oh my gosh. And when he was traded for Robbie Ray, I was pissed. And now I was like, oh, that's actually not a bad trade. And of course, idiot Tigers traded Robbie Ray after 1 year. But anyways, I don't want to lose our listeners.
I mean, they didn't develop him anyways, but go on.
Whatever. You know what? At the end of the day, this is how I sleep at night. We butt fucked. So, excuse my language. The Diamondbacks when we got Max Scherzer. Do you remember that in 2010?
Okay.
like they just, I don't know why they traded Scherzer to us. He was up and coming. Everyone knows what he is now. We got him.
Dombrowski was a smooth talker.
Yes. So then when the Diamondbacks got Robbie Ray, I'm like, all right, now you can't be pissed anymore because there you go. You got Robbie Ray now. Does that make sense, or am I stupid?
Well, I mean, on a career, when you look at their careers, I mean, Robbie Ray was all right in Detroit, but then he had that one real great year out there. But I think the verdict is still out on him. But I mean, obviously, Scherzer was he's a pitcher of our
yeah. All right,
pitcher of the decade, basically.
So this is like you can't compare these two, Steve or Tim. Like, listen, Tettleton for Spister. So I don't know who you're going to pick. I'm curious.
You should know.
It's your world, Steve.
Yeah, I'm going Tettleton all the way. Doug Fister's just I mean, he's all right. He's just vanilla. You know, he's just like a 3.5 ERA. You know.
I know, but he was something else. Listen, do you see my show sheet? The guy who I have first is the guy who I have as the higher seed. So that's who I have. Tim, I'm not going to use the veto. Are you?
I am not.
All right, so we have Steve Harris, who he refused to do the poo-poo pee challenge out of principle, which is disappointing because, you know, I've known Steve for a long time. And he doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would back away from a poo-poo pee challenge. But
I mean, honestly, Carl, the whole thing is just kind of fucking silly.
It is.
Ask me.
Well, not really. I mean, this is a sports podcast, but we have fun.
I mean, you can still tackle it if you want.
No, we're moving on.
Let's move on.
All I kind of want to dive into the main topic because before we do it, I'm going to go through some rules because we're going to determine the top 5 baseball movies of all time because all 3 of us are experts. We all love baseball.
That's right.
We're going to run through. We're going to run through the movies. You can chime in if you want to defend a movie, or you want to bash one, or you can just say whatever, pass. And we're each going to rate a movie 1 through 10. There's no sequels, no documentaries, because everyone loves that Ken Burns documentary or that thing on Netflix about the bastard baseball guys, whatever. Those are good movies. And then Major League 2 is okay, but they're not included. And
I couldn't get through the Ken Burns thing, to be honest with you, man. I was really excited to watch it, but then I was like, do I want to watch like 6 hours of like Lefty McGillicuddy from fucking 1917 and shit like that?
I think they added a couple chapters after it finished. Okay. I think. Anyways, if you didn't interrupt, you're fine. If you didn't see it, just say you didn't see it, and I'll do an incomplete score. And if 2 of us didn't see a movie, then it won't be. It's just disqualified for the top 5. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because that would be kind of unfair. Say me and Steve didn't see A League of Their Own, but Tim's like, a 10. So then, like, that wouldn't be fair to give it a 10. Like, that would just ruin everything.
So should I give you my numerical ranking?
We'll go through it. So I listed 10 movies.
Sure.
I kind of Googled the most popular ones. And then at the end, we can all nominate one. And then I'm going to go through, because on Twitter, a whole bunch of people listed their favorites. And there was a lot that I didn't include that they included. Twitter Nation, thank you for chiming in. You obviously don't care when I talk about NBA, but when I talk about movies, you chime in. And Steve, by the way, are you familiar with the Mighty Ducks trilogy?
I am.
Because I am planning a huge Mighty Ducks show. So I need a Mighty Ducks movie expert. So if you want to do that,
well, as long as it's like a month out,
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, we'll do it. It's not anytime soon.
Hell yeah!
So you guys ready to dive in?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, always.
So you can do like 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. You can do 0.5s. Got it?
Okay. So I assume you have a calculator then?
Well, you don't trust my math skills. Miss Surgeon trained me well, Steve. Radio for
nice
2.
Pull.
Radio for 2.
Always good. You're always good for an old school teacher pull.
Yeah, it's like this only show is only for me and you. No.
Yeah, we're the only 2 people that know what the fuck you're talking about.
That was our 5th grade math teacher.
I like it.
Anyways, here we go. All right, first movie, man. Rookie of the Year. I have nothing to say about this except for I always loved it because, it came out at a time where I was like the same age as Henry. So,
Right.
So I'm just going to straight up tell you, I give it an 8.5. If you guys want to talk about it, if you just want to rate it, but Steve, it's your rule. What do you got to say?
8.5. I'm going to give it an 8. I did really like the movie when I was younger. Now that I'm a little bit older, I'm going to discredit it just a half a point from an 8.5 to an 8 because it's a Cubs-centric.
Oh.
And but I always love the part where he says, hen, re, row, ren, go, no. I always love that. And I did that like every fucking day, after I saw that.
Here's what I don't understand. The guy seemed pretty unathletic. And then even after he loses his pitching skills, which, by the way, makes no sense because Major League pitchers could probably time up his fastball because I don't think he had a second pitch. But at the end of the movie, he robs a home run.
We all know the career of Joel Zumaya.
In the beginning of the movie, he couldn't even catch a ball. Like, how is he robbing home runs at the end? Like, what the heck did this happen?
I don't know.
Anyways,
come on, Carl.
It's got a pretty good rating so far. We got an 8.5 and an 8. What about you, Tim?
Oh, 8.5, Carl.
An 8.5? Why?
I grew up really liking it. I will say though that I suffered an injury like the young chap there, and I still really can't throw a baseball.
Fair enough.
It's been like 4 years.
Oh no!
I had total shoulder reconstruction surgery.
So
I still can't.
So we're determining the top 5, and when you have a score of 8.3 repeating, I think Rookie of the Year is, that's probably going to be a top 5 movie. That's a good score. And then we're going to switch gears. A League of Their Own, starring Tom Hanks. We all know what it's about. But I'm not going to lie, I like it. I like this movie because, I don't know, it wasn't boring. I don't know what to say. It was good. I give it a 7. A 7.
A 7?
What do you got, Steve?
I mean, you seem a little bit like ashamed to say that you like this movie.
I was ashamed to add this because I added this over a lot of good movies that we'll talk about later. But
I don't really understand because I really like this movie. I mean, there's nothing not to like about it. Let me tell you something. Madonna in this movie is like one of the hottest chicks in any movie.
Yeah,
still,
but can you believe that
day.
Rosie O'Donnell played baseball?
Well, I mean,
Well, I sure can.
Oh,
it's a little suspension of disbelief, and she was the catcher, which was an excellent casting call. But
she wasn't the catcher.
Rosie O'Donnell was not the catcher?
No, the main girl was the catcher because she dropped the ball at the end. I think she was third base.
That's right.
Sorry. Oh, Steven.
Oh, no.
Steven.
Busted.
I'm not going to edit that out either. Sorry.
I still like the movie, and I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Fair enough. So, Tim, listen. Did you see this movie?
I have, Carl.
Of course you have. This was kind of based off Jimmy Foxx's life. Did you know that?
I did not know that, Carl.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, it was. Jimmy Foxx was an alcoholic, former. He was a Hall of Fame baseball player who he managed one of those all-girls teams.
Oh yeah.
Whatever.
Thanks, Carl. Thanks for the
Tom
detail.
Hanks and Madonna's body couldn't save this movie. I give it a 7.
That's not bad, though, man.
Still not a terrible score.
7 is a C. C gives you degrees. You know what I mean? Listen.
Some of the other movies on this list are going to get lower than a 7. I'll tell you that.
That's not bad, though. 7.16 repeating. That's not a bad score. It's in the running. And it's kind of funny that I included this movie because, why would the host include a movie he's never seen? Because I went to a bunch of sites, and this was in people's top 10. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're talking about the next movie that you're about to name?
Yeah, 42. And if one of you haven't seen it, then we can just skip over because it'll be incomplete. I haven't seen it. I can't say anything.
I have.
I've seen it.
All right, we're good to go then. You guys will determine the final score. Steve, what do you rate it and why?
Okay, I'm going to be a little bit generous because, I don't know, I feel like it deserves a fair shake considering only 2 out of the 3 people saw it. I'm going to give it a 6. I was kind of excited for this movie because it had been a while that a baseball movie came out, and I remember when it was going to the theaters, and I saw it, and I was just pretty much bored with it. So I felt like it was,
What do you mean bored with it? Were they afraid to go off full racism?
No, I mean I just think the storytelling technique, whatever they did. I mean, I can't dissect the movie properly so people can understand. I just know that as I was watching it, I was ready for it to be over, and that's kind of like my my check mark to know that I don't really like it.
Anything you want to say, Tim? I mean, Steve gives it a 6. It probably has no chance unless you give it a 10.
I actually give it, let's say, an 8.5 for historical value. The first time I went to see it, I ended up seeing The Great Gatsby instead. Yeah.
8.5 is pretty high.
Yeah, like I said, the historical value is there. I would say it's the baseball equivalent to Walk the Line.
Fair. I mean, that's going to give it a 7.25. So
historical value. I mean, I don't understand what that is.
No, Tim is.
It's telling a necessary story.
Okay, all right, I see what you're saying. I didn't know if you were saying historical accuracy or just because it was something that happened in the past, so you're giving it a good rating.
No. I'm it was a story that needed to be told. It was told well.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah,
Listen, so
all right.
We have 3 down.
Yeah.
We have 7 to go plus our added ones, and
oh yeah. Let's not stall out on that piece of shit. Let's move on.
Moneyball.
No offense.
Moneyball's next, dude. Brad Pitt. Can you imagine being a GM of a baseball team and then Brad Pitt plays you in a movie? I mean, come on.
What a fabulous casting.
Good for Billy Bean. And I'm not going to lie. I love this movie so much where I give it the same score as I did for Rookie of the Year because I felt like Rookie of the Year was ridiculous. But as I get older, I appreciate movies that don't kind of stretch the truth. Like when I was young, I loved Cool Runnings. And then when I get older and I read about the true Jamaican bobsled team, I realize, holy cow. Yeah. This is, of course, they didn't just show up to the Olympics without ever practicing on ice. That is stupid. Yeah. Why did I believe that when I was 11? Are you an idiot, Carl? But anyways, Moneyball, you can't, there's nothing out of Moneyball where you can see that and you're like, no, that didn't happen. Like everything about that movie seemed realistic. So I give it an 8.5, just like Rookie of the Year. What do you got, Steve?
I'm going to top you and give it a 9. I really like this movie.
Because of the reasons I said, right?
Again, just to go back to the 42 thing, I was entertained by this movie, and I did not feel like I wanted the movie to be over. And it was one of the few times that I thought Jonah Hill was being, a good actor and was entertaining and did his role well. And I just, it was more of I could relate to it more because I actually remember the team, Yeah,
I guess there was parts of it I didn't like. I mean, that team won because, remember that 3-headed pitching monster they had? Like Zito
Mulder, and
someone
Hudson.
else. And then they had the MVP, Tejada. They don't talk about those guys at all. Yeah, Hudson. So that was the one. That's why it's not a 9 or a 9.5 for me because, they didn't really talk. They kind of hid away from why the team was so good. They talked about Hatterberg, Chris Pratt's character. Yeah. He
was some crucial element to that team.
The team was good because they had 3 ace-level pitchers on the team, plus the AL MVP and Miguel Tejada. And they still lost in the divisional series. Anyway, sorry, I'm pissed. But
they didn't amount to much. But I did love the scenes in the the managerial draft board room. You remember those? They did mention Bonderman, which I thought was awesome.
Yes, and Carlos Pena too gets a mention. He gets traded.
Right.
Who was that? Who was the manager? What's his name? He's dead now. The actor. What's his name? He played.
Seymour Hoffman.
Oh, he's one of my favorite actors. Yeah, I forgot his name. I'm sorry, but he's still one of my favorite actors. Good actor. So this has a chance to top Rookie of the Year, depending on you, Tim. Depending on you.
I'm going to give it a 9, Carl.
Whoa.
Oh,
are you
damn.
serious? 9?
I love the movie.
Yeah.
If I could beat anyone, it'd be Billy Bean.
Baseball movies were in its heyday in the 90s, right, Steve?
Oh, 100%.
And then, there's, like you said, you watch 42 just because there was, you haven't seen one in a while. But Moneyball was, that's a pretty recent movie. And it comes in with a score of 8.83 repeating, which will overtake Rookie of the Year.
I went into the Moneyball after reading the book, too, which was kind of also, contributed to my score.
Boom. Right. And we're moving on. And this one should get some talking because it's Major League. Oh my gosh, the first Major League was an R-rated movie. You go to the second one, it was PG. I never even saw the third one, Back to the Minors. But man, Major League came out 89. Oh man, I just remember playing slow pitch softball, and every time someone did a Dorn where they tried to Olay the.
Oh, dude, I still make Dorn references
yes.
At least once a week to this day.
Cut out of that Olay bullshit.
Yeah, you Dorn that one.
So, I'm not gonna talk about it too much, but I give it a 9.5, which is high. Steve, what do you got?
This is one of the 2 movies on this list that is going to get a perfect 10 score. I love this movie top to bottom. I consider it to be flaw-free. And I saw it in a very impressionable time in my life, which is probably why I love baseball as much as I do now. And I encourage anyone, which I will do with my son, to show them this movie when they are roughly 10 to 12 years of age.
Or you can watch it on TBS on a Saturday afternoon with they'd be like, "Olay bull crap."
Yeah, I would never recommend that, Carl. That sounds awful.
All right, so we got two scores, a 9.5 and a 10. So Tim, it's your world, man.
It's a 10.
Wow, really?
Damn.
That's almost perfect.
Comedy and action. The casting was perfect.
I don't know.
And actually, I'm a big fan of the Topps Archive series a couple of years ago, where they actually released the autographs from the actors. It was pretty cool.
Oh, bullshit.
Wow. Fuck you,
remember,
Joe Boo.
That's right. I was going right there.
Yeah. Remember when Harris is like, "Are you telling me Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball?"
Dude, how could you ever believe that guy was a major league pitcher? He was like 52 years old.
Right.
He was like Greg Maddux 9.0.
You know, his arm was rubber, and his fastball topped out at like 84.
Yeah,
It reminded me of Frank Tanana.
That wasn't even the most ridiculous thing. When they're at spring training, you really believe that major league players were sleeping on those cheap bunk beds? You know?
It was a basic training.
Come on, yeah, they're not in the Army. Come on. I've gone on a tour of spring training camps, and they
what about the plane too? Then you gotta talk about the plane then.
That would Anyway, so we got 5 down. We got Major League leading. Then we have Moneyball, Rookie of the Year, 42, and a League of Their Own. So that's 5 down, just like that. And let's bounce back to 8-1. Wow, we have a lot of baseball, Steve. Wow. So, Steve, I'm just curious. Is there any other topic besides baseball you do on this show? Probably hockey, right?
No, I'm out of the loop.
Oh, you are?
Sad to say, ever since they had that strike in, what was that, 90...
04, 05?
05, yeah. So ever since then, I kind of lost touch. I don't know. I mean, I would do non-sports topics,
like
I'm really
Mighty Ducks movie thing. Yeah,
I would for sure do that. But if I want to seem credible at all, I can't really. I guess I could do football, college or pro football.
Yeah.
But anything other than that, it's baseball all the way.
So Bobby Higginson, I look back, had one good year. So he got this huge contract because the Tigers were shit. And it's kind of funny to me. He left after the 05 season. And as soon as he leaves, the Tigers, everyone knows they did in 06. So it's So Higginson versus the most stress-worthy. This is the reason why I lost so much hair. Todd Jones. How do you have a closer who pitches to contact? Come on. Who do you got, Steve?
Yeah, Todd Jones, I mean, the only thing I really liked about him was a few times when they had rain delays, he would go out and slip and slide around.
That's what you like about him? I mean, come on. We had Joel Zamaya pitching the 8th, pitching 102, and then Todd Jones comes in throwing 88.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm going with, even though I mean, this is kind of like an election where you just got to pick the lesser of two evils. I'm going to go with Bobby Higginson, and I'm going to base my decision because if you Google image search Bobby Higginson, he tucks the top of his ears into his hat. And I know it sounds weird, and I sound crazy for saying it, but he does. And I don't know anybody on the planet Earth that does that. So I'm going with Higginson.
Are you vetoing, Tim?
Nope.
Neither am I. I mean, you see, that's who I have as my higher seed. So we got Polanco, Fryman, Pendleton, and Higginson. and me and Tim both have our vetoes. So this is crazy. We'll knock out a semifinal matchup.
So those were all favorites then.
They were the favorites, and now it's kind of like whatever. Here we go. Placido Polanco. Man, he had a big head. Remember that?
Yeah, I sure do. Yeah,
Travis Fryman, who he had a tough job. He took over Alan Trammell's position. Not easy. True. So I mean, it's kind of like the guy from your youth versus the guy who helped the Tigers get to the World Series. Who do you got?
That's right. I'm gonna my gut reaction was to say Fryman, but I'm going Polanco here, man.
What do you got, Tim? I can't do it.
The reason you just said. I mean, he was more valuable in taking the Tigers deeper into the playoffs. So going with him.
Without looking at their WARs, I would say Polanco was better.
I just loved when there was one out, a guy on third, and Polanco's up. The guy was just so clutch at situational hitting. I've never seen a Major League Baseball player choke up like him. He was just like he didn't care. He didn't care if it looked stupid, and he would do whatever it took to get the run. Or there was a guy on like second base with no outs. He would hit a grounder to second to get the guy over to third.
100%.
And I can't veto, and we've never seen this, Steve. We're going to go to the second round of the semis without a veto.
I remember one year he hit like 4 home runs because he never hit any home runs, right? He would hit like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 home runs.
Yeah.
He had like 4 home runs one year, and 2 of them were in the same game.
Yeah.
I just thought that was funny.
Was he on that 08 Phillies team? I think he was. So I think he got his World Series, which makes me happy.
Oh, okay, good.
Is that too dorky? You don't know?
I don't know.
All right. Tim?
I'm checking it.
All right. Anyways, we'll move back. We'll go back over to the baseball movies. This is a sports podcast, right, Steven?
Is it?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying, Carl.
And we have a lot of chatter on Twitter about this topic, but I have my 10 on the list, and I gave you homework.
I got a question, Carl. If you were going to assign a character from Family Matters to each one of us, who would be who? I feel like Tim would be Urkel.
Yeah, Tim's Urkel, and you're probably Waldo.
Okay. All right. And who are you? You're Carl, then? You get to be Carl?
Yeah, of course. I'm Carl Winslow. Come on.
Oh, very good. Okay, never mind. Move along.
So, Bad News Bears, the old ones from '76.
Oh yeah.
This made the top 10.
Yeah.
People might disagree with it, but
it's classic.
It's amazing. Like they can never make a movie like that anymore. They had kids like smoking and drinking beers, and I probably lasted like 15 minutes into the Billy Bob version because they PC'd it and it pissed me off.
I didn't even give it a chance.
Yeah, I gave it a chance, and but I mean the Bad News Bears from '70s. It's ridiculous. And I only give it a 6.5. And I'm sorry. I feel bad about it. I do.
Whoa.
I feel bad about it. I know.
What?
I feel bad about it. And I'm going to say...
Carl, this is 2 egregious things that you've done.
First off, I included it, which you should respect, because I didn't have to. But I'm sorry. It's too much. It's a little bit over the top.
Wow.
Because I think even in '76, that's just too much. And I don't want to be like PC liberal guy, but I just can't. I can't enjoy it. I'm sorry.
The son of Carl being PC and or liberal.
If you guys both want to give it a 10, you can resurrect it. But I'm firm with a 6.5. And what do you got, Steve?
So this combined with the song choice of earlier.
Dude, listen, dude, that's a good song. I know you.
It's really this combined with that is really making me second guess any further appearances on this podcast. But I'm just gonna try and move past it. I'm gonna give this movie a 9.5, almost perfect score, because it is a classic. You got Buttermaker, who is a drunk, and that alone is hilarious. And he's a coach. And he passes out on the mound. He drinks Miller High Lifes. Okay? And then you got Kelly Leak, who drives a freaking motorcycle, smokes cigarettes. Total badass.
At 12 years old.
Total badass.
At 12.
I'm still nowhere near as cool as he is. I probably never will be. And then you got that little blonde kid, who I'm blanking on his name right now. Tanner. I think is his name. Tanner. Funniest kid in the movie. Okay, then you got Engelbert, the fat catcher, always annoyed everybody's cutting him up for being fat. Carl, I don't understand the 6.5, but this is getting a 9.5 from me, buddy.
Too high, Tim. You're closer to me, right?
So, I respect Walter Matthau. I respect the institution of this film. I'm going to say a 7.
Thank you, Tim. You get
it. It really doesn't... It kind of reminds me of my childhood, so I'm going to go ahead and just not like this a lot.
Hey, sorry, Steve.
Reminds you of your childhood in what way?
I don't know, drunk people at Little League games.
That's hilarious.
It's a bad area. There's a prison there.
Yeah, okay.
That's what we're famous for.
Sorry, Steve. No chance now, buddy. That goes into the final. Score of 7.6 repeating.
My God.
No chance that makes the top 5.
Wow.
But oh my goodness, we have a big dog coming up. And as I look at these next 4, this is the only one where I have a high score. Spoiler alert. Man, oh man, The Sandlot. Ooh, I mean, come on. I don't have to break it down. Everybody knows The Sandlot. Everyone grew up in a neighborhood. Steven, you grew up, a couple of neighborhoods down from me. We used to play baseball with my friends on Chipmunk Trail. You played with your buddies, by Bates Elementary. Tim, you played with your friends from Jackson Penitentiary. Listen, nothing compares to The Sandlot. And guess what, guys? This is the only 10 I'm going to give. A perfect 10. Steve, if you give anything less than a 9, I might hang up on you.
Well, when you said the Major League, I said this was one of 2 movies that is going to get a perfect score, and Sandlot is the other movie that is going to get a perfect score. I give it a 10, Carl. And
why? Just because of nostalgia?
It was another pivotal movie in my most impressionable years, and the movie's just awesome.
Yeah, dude, it came out at a time where we were those guys' age. Listen. Say if we were 25 years old in 1995, it's just weird. But we were like 12 when the movie came out.
It's a freaking classic. I mean, there's really nothing else you can say about it.
That has to help, right? That it came out when we were those guys' age.
Oh, 100%, Carl.
So
and all the players in the movie you could relate to in some way, or you knew somebody that was just like them.
Wait, who are you?
And then you got Wendy Peppercorn.
You were Yeah, probably.
Yeah. No, I mean, I wasn't really a leader. I was more like a funny guy. So I would say I was probably...
The guy who got lost in the 70s?
No, I guess maybe Yeah would be a good call. Because I
grew up with you. You were Yeah. Trust me.
I was kind of fast, and I get it.
And I was Ham.
You were Ham?
Who are you, Tim?
Yeah.
I don't know, Carl. I don't know.
You were the guy on that other team that thought he was a big shot, but then lost.
Well, that just sounds like my life period, Carl.
Oh, sorry. So, I mean, we got, we're coming in hot. 2 perfect scores. Tim, you could make or break this. Like, this could be the number 1 movie, or you could just ruin it. I mean, there's a lot.
Clearly, Tim was the main kid who didn't know how to play.
Well, he was small.
He was small. Somebody took him under his wing, and he had a hat with a huge ass bill.
Didn't know what s'mores was, Tim. What do you got?
Carl, what does your mom have in common with this movie?
Is that a mom joke? You know how I feel about mom jokes.
They're both 10s.
That's That's not funny. What did he say? What did he say?
Oh, I thought it was funny.
You said
10, Carl.
He said Luann's a perfect 10 as well as The Sandlot.
Fair, all right. So we all give it 10. So I mean, I could put it in pen. We have our number 1 movie, guys.
Wow, perfect score.
Unless we're all a big fan of The Natural, but I doubt it. Anyways, all right. As we go down the list of baseball movies, we're going to go back to 8-1, where we're in the semis, and this is the last time Tim or myself could use a veto. So, Steve, you're nailing these choices. Obviously, me and Tim agree with you. So, good job for you.
Oh,
so we have Polanco in the finals, and now we have Pendleton versus Higginson. 3-syllable names, a catcher versus an outfielder. I think I know who you have, and if you don't pick him, I will veto.
I'm definitely not going with Higginson. I'll tell you that much. I've seen that guy check, swing, strike out more times than I care to, so I'm going with Telton.
Yeah, dude, man, come on. What was that? Randy Smith, the GM?
Yeah.
The dude was awful. Like, Higginson had 1 good year, so we signed him to a huge deal. What a bum.
For sure. I mean, I guess you could say for a little while he put butts in the seats, but that's about it.
Oh, my goodness. So now
I was actually a big Higginson fan. I just have more respect for Pendleton.
So you're not vetoing?
No, not veto.
You should veto so I could veto your veto.
Carl, I veto. I vote
And I
Higginson.
veto your veto. So Teneldon.
You're such an asshole, Carl.
Teneldon moves on. So Polanco versus Teneldon. We'll get back to that later. What a matchup. Talk about two different guys, right, Steve?
100%. But let me ask you something. Did you guys just burn your vetoes, so now you can't veto if I pick some? You know,
Do you even listen? We can't veto in the championship. That was the last time we could veto.
Oh, I guess I wasn't.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's right. That's why we did it, Steve. We're trying to be funny.
My bad.
This is a sports podcast, Steven. And listen, we have 3 more movies to break down before we go into our nominees, which is kind of interesting to me because there are so many baseball movies, Steve. There are so many that I didn't even think about. There's something called like Brewster's Millions. Are you kidding me? Never even heard of it, but apparently it's the best, according to one of our listeners.
Check it out if I was you.
So these last 3 movies are all classics, so I had to include them. And you're probably going to hate me because I shit on all 3 of them, Steve. And the first one is Bull Durham, which I saw once, and I give it a 4. So F you. What do you got?
Oh my God, Carl! What the hell is wrong with you?
Didn't like it. Overrated. Now just give it a rating and move on.
A 4?
It was awful.
I mean,
wait till you see what I say about Field of Dreams and The Natural. It's probably going to piss you off, but I don't care.
that is completely unnecessary. I mean, disrespectful. Bull Durham is a fucking classic, all right? Yeah, it's got a love story in there, but it's a classic. And giving it a 4 is just egregious. I'm going to give Bull Durham the rating of a 9 out of 10.
Okay, 9, really? So,
Yeah.
I'm going to kind of go off topic here, but when Babe Ruth was growing up at a Baltimore orphanage, he had a different nickname. Do you know what it was?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
It was N-word lips.
I will not repeat it on the air. Yes.
N-word lips. Now, I was talking to my brother, who, we have the same sense of humor. I go, Nick, could you imagine if that is a nickname that took off? Like, no one would be buying that candy,
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter what kind of stats he'd had. If you look and see who was one of the best homer hitters of all time, and you go on Wikipedia and you say N-word lips Ruth, they're like, oh, what the how can you respect? So I'm glad Babe took over N-word lips.
Carl, that was totally out of left field, but thank you. That was hilarious.
That's how I do it. So we have a 4 and a 9. So apparently we disagree on this. So Tim, you're the independent vote. You are the, what's his name? Paul. What's his name? Ron Paul.
Paul Rand. Oh.
You are the.
I give it a 7.5, Carl.
So like right in between us.
I respect it, but I'm not in love with it.
Oh,
I mean, that's not going to be good enough to get into the top 5. So.
Oh man.
Sorry, Steve. Come on, man. I know you're like this old soul. I know you're a big fan of N-word lips Ruth, but we're not.
I actually have a poster of him in my living room. I'm looking at it right now.
I mean, listen.
I prefer to call him Babe, though, if you don't mind.
Fair enough.
I prefer Big Baboon, personally.
George Herman.
You remember in Sandlot when they're like in that dude's house and they're like, George signed this? Like he had like a first name relationship with them, and they had no idea that this guy was like some sort of baseball superstar, and he lived in their backyard.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I still gave it a 10. So I mean, I'm not criticizing.
Yeah, what if during that scene somebody was like, N-word lips?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, N-word Ruth? N-word lips Ruth? No, that would have been that would have maybe even surpassed 10 if they would have done that.
Tim, this is how I know Steve's a baseball fan, because he knew Babe Ruth's original nickname that didn't take off.
I did.
Well, no. Like I said, Big Baboon was another one.
Oh. Still not even close to a sentence. It was N-word lips.
I knew that because
it's still, yeah.
That's still bad.
I read a biography of his. That's how I knew that.
So everyone thought like Babe Ruth was like this 300-pound, 6'8" guy, but he was like 5'11", 215. He wasn't even that big. He's actually pretty small to today's standards.
It's true. I believe everybody was kind of smaller back then.
Yeah, that just.
I'm 5'10", 5'11", 220, and I'm like a small fry.
So after 8 movies, Steve, Bull Durham is dead last. And Steve, stop giving people 9s, 9.5s. I mean, do you love every baseball movie?
Pretty much, Carl. I mean, pretty much. All the ones on this list, anyway. I can think of a few piece of shit ones that I don't like.
There's only one movie you didn't like. It's 42, and jeez, man, you hate Jackie Robinson, I see.
Well, that's not... God damn it, Carl, that's not true. I didn't like For Love of the Game, even though Kevin Costner played for the Tigers.
Don't get ahead of yourself. We might get to there later. So let's talk about...
The movie was a piece of shit.
I'll talk about a piece of shit. Field of Dreams, I give it a 5.5. I'm sorry, it's ridiculous. Why did it turn into some science fiction bullshit?
Well,
I mean, it's like, yeah, you play catch with your dad. Cool. I have a dad. I love my dad. I might cry, but listen, why did it get all weird? Like, this movie got weird. It failed. Yeah. 5.5 is failing. Steve, what do you got?
Yeah. All right. Well, shout out to James Earl Jones for being in 2 of these movies. I'm gonna give it a. I'm not really a big fan of this one either.
Oh,
I'm gonna give
it.
I'm gonna give
it. George Science. That's my favorite quote from Sandlot.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
Wow, really? Wow. This has no chance. Even with a 10, no chance. What do you got, Tim?
Yeah, Tim.
Well, Carl.
Tim, who can't make a cup in Pong.
This is it's like such a classic, and it's the quintessential father-son movie. But yeah, let's go ahead and give it a fat old 6.
Wow, geez. Well, I can do this math in my head. 18 divided by 3, that's a 6. That is in dead last place.
Quintessential father-son movie, man. I got to think about that one.
I mean, all right. So we're down to one more movie before we go to our nominees. And here's our top 5 through 9 movies. We got Sandlot, Major League, Moneyball, Rookie of the Year, and... Wow, really? Bad News Bears?
What do you mean, wow, really? It's a fucking classic.
It doesn't deserve to be in the top 5, Steve.
God damn. I think we've proven that it has.
It does.
It does.
So here we go. The last one on my list, because I'm the host of this sports podcast, so I came up with this list.
This is a sports podcast?
Robert Redford. So apparently he was like ass raped or something, so he missed all these years of baseball. He comes back as this old rookie. But it's ridiculous. There's just too much. It's too long of a movie. There's too much of a love story. I give it a 5. The Natural. A 5, Steve. You agree with me, Ray?
Yeah, actually I do. I'm going to give it the same exact score of 5. I saw it a long time ago, and I was not into it. And I tried to rewatch it over the years, and I don't get very far. I'm just not into it. I give it a 5.
Wow. A rare agreement. Wow. I love you. What do you got, Tim? I mean, you can give it a 10. It doesn't matter.
Carl, this movie to me is the quintessential absent father movie.
What? What? Did you have daddy issues?
Have. I'm going to go ahead and say that this movie, it's like a really bad comic book. Starring probably Ben Affleck now. 5, yeah.
Wow, really? A 5? So that's...
Wow.
Yeah,
we
15,
all give it a 5, so that's an easy math there. So our top 5 remains. All right.
Tim, it almost sounds like you're podcasting from a car. Is that true?
It is. It is, in fact.
Hey, so
you are in a car.
Yes.
Okay.
So, Tim, what was the best hand job you ever got from a car?
Oh, jeez.
Well, I've never actually gotten one from a car.
Quick
Carl.
to answer that.
Yeah, well, some of us can't get lucky on church buses on the way to church camp.
Oh, all right.
That's weird. Weird thing to say.
It's not like, yeah, no. But that was like a new fashion then, probably, too, instead of an old fashioned.
What's our next topic, guys?
So we can go to the 8-1 championship, or we can do our nominees. Steve, it's your show. You're the guest somehow. What do you got?
I'm gonna let's finish off the 8-1.
Are you serious? And it's your world, man. Polanco versus Tettleton. Both of them didn't finish their careers with the Tigers.
Right.
Dude, Tettleton, I mean, he was like that third fiddle guy because You know, they had Fryman and Fielder.
And Rob Deere.
Oh, yeah, Rob Deere, who batted like 180 with 40 dingers. What a guy.
Yeah.
Strike out or dong it. And Polanco, I should add Rob Deere, by the way. Good. Damn it, Tim. We should have. This is good. No, this is good, Steve. But whatever you say, I'm going to disagree with. So what do you got?
Okay, well, I mean, the batting stance can only get you so far. I loved it, but I got to go with Polanco. More well-rounded player. And again, let him.
Yeah, you're probably picking him because he won something, right?
Well, for all the stuff that I just said. I mean, I don't know. That's why I said it.
So we went on Twitter and we asked about baseball movies, Steve. Is that okay with you? Do you understand Twitter, or are you too old for that?
No, I get it. I think I'm younger than you are.
By like a month.
Well, you're still not in a position to call me old, though.
You have an old soul. Unlike I'm on Instagram and I play Pong. I play Pong.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You're right there. Neither of us are
With his
old.
homies.
Neither of us are old as Tim, though, is sitting in his car right now.
Yeah. What a loser.
My dogs are no joke.
He hasn't even got a hand. He never even got a hand job.
That's right.
Oh, man.
I can't tell you the last time I got a hand job. I mean, geez.
It's probably the way to church camp.
Does your own hand count?
No, I mean, we're not going to get into it, but yeah, it was this millennium, so that's something.
We probably should just avoid this.
So we got the Twitter Nation came up with these 7 movies, and then we're going to nominate a movie.
Okay.
So, I mean, I asked Twitter what their favorite baseball movie was, and people had the guts to say some of these shit shows. Mr. 3000, Basketball, Brewster's Millions, which I still know, 61, Hardball, Benchwarmers, For the Love of the Game. Those are all shitty movies, but they love them. So we'll go.
No love for Beer League, huh?
We're going to actually go to Tim first for this. Tim, is there anything you want to nominate to join this list? Because right now our top 5 is Sandlot, Major League. Let's see, we got Moneyball, Rookie of the Year, and Bad News Bears. So, Tim, do you want to? I mean, you want to nominate something to bump one of those out?
No, Carl.
Are you serious? No.
Yeah.
Wow.
What can I say? Like one of the 1950s movies about like Dizzy Dean.
If Bad News Bears,
story,
gets the top 5, I'm ending this show.
Wow. What's with all the hate on Bad News Bears? It's a classic. I don't understand.
All right, Tim. Tim's friend Steve. What do you got? Anything you want to nominate?
I was gonna say 61 because I really like it. I don't think it's gonna crack the top 5, but I'll nominate it.
I actually saw it. It was with that one. It was that Roger Maris movie, right?
Yep.
I'll give it. I didn't hate it. I watched the whole thing, which gives me a 7. Like it passes. If I watch a whole movie, I get a 7. So it's a 7. You got Tim, Steve. Tim.
I actually never saw it.
Ooh, incomplete score. So it's just me and you, Steve.
Okay, I was gonna give it an 8.
So that's a 7.5, which is actually below Bad News Bears. So it's not going to crack it.
Okay.
Here we go now. So in our youth, guys, during the Sandlot, Rookie of the Year times, there was this other movie about young baseball, and it was called Little Big League. And I liked it because it actually had real baseball players in it. Like Mickey Tettleton was in it. It was realistic. You remember that, Steve?
Oh, yeah. I remember that now.
Dude, the guy's
I remember it.
grandpa dies. He owned the Twins. And I was smart enough at the time to call them out because, like, the Twins are horrible. But when that movie came out, they were, like, 2 seasons away from winning the World Series. So I was like, why are they so shitty all of a sudden? Like, the 93 Twins weren't that bad. But anyways, I like Little Big League. And I gave it a rating. And it's a solid 8. What do you got, Steve?
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a really long time. But I know that I sat through it, so I'm going to use some of your logic. I'm going to give it a 7.
So if you watch a whole movie, it's a 7.
Well, I mean, in this case, I mean, off the top of my head, I remember being entertained by it when I was, younger, but I haven't seen it in like 10 years, so I'm going to give it a 7.
Carl Logic, what is that? Are you? Is that an insult?
You can take it however you want it, but the fucking goddamn movie's getting a 7, Carl.
The dude's grandpa died.
She's dead!
You know what? Like, what? That's some Jerry Jones bullshit. You own the team, and you're like, I'm going to manage the team, too. I'm going to be the GM. I'm going to be the president. I'm going to do everything.
Yeah, the kid's grandpa went Miss Quigley.
Dude, the movie was... Stop it. The movie was ridiculous.
Yes.
Their star player was like some, 5'9" actor who was like 160 with no muscle. Like, that was not a Major League Baseball player. Come on, at least hire an actor who looks like a professional athlete. But we're in contention here, Tim. If you give this a decent score...
If I give it an 8, we have a tie.
You must be good
And
at
I'm going to
math.
say this movie, in fact, is better than Bad News Bears. I'm going to say it's 8.5, definitively.
So let's do some math here. So that's going to give it a rating of 7.8 repeating. Oh, that does beat Bad News Bears. Wow.
I did the math over here, Carl.
Wow. First of all, I can hear you typing in the numbers on your calculator, Carl. That's not good for radio. Number 2, I can't believe that just happened.
That's what happened, though. That's what happened.
Yeah, it's some fucking goddamn bullshit.
Whoa. Listen, as I'm like pumping out the top 5, Steve.
Yeah.
Is there a movie that didn't make the list that we kind of talked about that you wish we could break down, like a Mr. 3000?
No, because you gave me an opportunity to nominate one, and I said 61, so that was my pick.
Okay.
But I did see Mr. 3000 in the theater with my best friend John, and I remember watching it and just being disappointed big time.
Do you remember the movie Mr. Baseball?
Yeah,
yes.
With Tom Selleck.
Frank Thomas plays first base for the Yankees in that.
Really?
Yeah. Terrible. Just the thought of that is terrible.
All right.
All right.
I think we're ready to break things down. I mean, I'm all over the place here. No.
Yeah. You got to get your shit together.
All right, here we go. I got my top 5 plus my honorable mention. Are you ready, Tim and Steve Harris?
I am ready, yep.
I'm always ready, Carl.
Our honorable mention at number 6 is The Bad News Bears from 1976. It's a classic. Carl unfortunately gave him a really bad rating, which didn't get him in the top 5. Steve, are you upset?
100%, yep. That's okay, though. I'm going to get over it.
Here we go. Coming in number 5 was a late addition. Like, this is a huge upset. We had a top 10. Carl came in with Little Big League, and it upset the nation. Little Big League is the number 5 baseball movie of all time. Tim, me and you agree with this. Steve's probably pissed off. He's ripping his hair out.
I just hate the twins so much.
Who cares?
Steve still has hair?
Yeah, barely.
Listen, not much.
Here we go. Number 4. Great movie. Rookie of the Year. Henry Rowan Gardner. Number 4. We're all cool with that, right, Tim?
Yeah, absolutely.
Number 3, the only movie not from the 80s or 90s, Moneyball. It was just a really well done movie, right, Steve?
Yes, yeah, I loved it. Big time.
And nothing else to say. And I kind of knew that it would come down to these 2 movies. These are the best 2 baseball movies of all time. And looking at Major League, holy cow. You guys both gave it a 10. I gave it a 9.5. So
right, it's a classic.
If I would have given it a 10, we would have had a tie. So I guess I'm the reason why it's number 2. Which, yeah, I guess gun to my head, I would watch Sandlot over Major League. Barely. Major League comes in at number 2, and then Sandlot's number 1.
I can live with that.
So, me and Tim are probably cool with the top 5, but Steve is not a fan of Little Big League.
I just like Bad News Bears more, but it's okay.
All right, fair enough.
I'll still be on your Mike show if you'll have me.
And you were huge on Bull Durham.
Well, I mean, I know that one's a little bit controversial. Some of my buddies don't like that either. Too much of a love story, but I just love it.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, you didn't do the prank challenge, poo poo pee. I'll carry it over to the next guest. You know, I understand. You worked in the service industry for many years. You don't want to mess with someone. So fine. I can't put you in the Throne of Awesome because of that. All you have
Again, I can live with it, and it doesn't so much have to do with me being in the service industry. I'm in the, you know, I just don't like to. It's not how I roll, Carl. Okay.
I wrote the script out. Like there's nothing.
Are you gonna do a live read?
No, because I'm gonna carry it on to the next show. I think it's pretty good.
Oh, who's the next guest?
I don't know. I don't plan ahead. We'll see.
Oh, okay. My bad.
So Tim, any last words?
Like on an epitaph?
No.
Oh,
that wasn't funny last show. It's not funny now.
Aw. Go Tigers.
And go Sandlot, right, Steve Harris?
That's right. 10 out of 10. Perfect score. Classic movie. Pretty much sums up my youth. And, you know, if you haven't seen it, go watch it immediately.
Sandlot, Major League Moneyball, Rookie of the Year, Little Big League. Can you see the trend? 3 of 5 of those movies were like about little kids in the mid-'90s. And then we had Major League and Moneyball. Wow. Great choices, guys.
You know, before we sign off, I have one more question I want to ask you.
What, about a hand job?
Is this a sports show?
Kind of. It's kind of like a Detroit sports podcast, but we're all over the place. So for Steve Harris, my number 2 best friend in second grade, and for Tim Anderson, my number 18 best friend currently, I'm Carl Coffey, and we'll talk to you next time. See ya.